So hello and welcome back to my channel. It's been about a year, 8 months since I last filmed a video. Is there any real reason for that? No, not particularly, but I will list off some defences. Number one, I was living in a house share with people, which could be its whole own video, but not yet. Number two, my house faced another house and therefore there was no sunlight that came in, and despite the fact that I bought a ring light, yes, albeit for like what, £2.99, I could not do that. Number three, I couldn't really be bothered if that's fair enough. I think that's a fair enough defence, but I'm back at home because my master's is essentially done. Might as well be done, there's nothing left. All I have to do is hand in a dissertation. Not really an issue. I thought because I'm essentially done, which is, you've already seen by the title, I would do a review of Nottingham, because essentially I did a review of Southampton every year for 3 years, and then I did the big whammy, the 58-minute video, or was it an hour? The big video where I basically just said Southampton sucks. Now that I have something to compare it to, I still think Southampton sucks, but Nottingham sucks also in its own way. You may also notice I have friendship bracelets on. That's because the night was sparkling. Cannot let it go, will not let it go. I did not spend hours making friendship bracelets for it to be useless to me. They will slide down, they will flop. You may also hear them making annoying noises, however that is just something that's going to have to happen, I think. And we're going to talk through my experience with the degree, the university, the place as a whole. Don't know, I went to Nottingham for postgrad, 4th year, but 1st year of postgrad, to do a postgrad in psychological research methods, psychology research methods, most generic psychology masters that exist without it being a conversion, because essentially what I was looking for was a conversion that's not a conversion. I don't have any interest in psychology, at least not that I developed, because Southampton didn't let you develop interest. Like, unless you came to undergrad with a passionate interest in something, you were probably going to get shoved on a project you didn't like. Modules didn't really let you, I don't know, care about them. I was basically just looking for generic psychology. Did I get generic psychology? Yes and no, which we'll go into in the modules, because essentially, so I've never done things with credits and it was now weighted on credits. In Southampton you picked 4 modules per term, you always had 4 modules per term, suck it up, that's what was happening. In Nottingham we had some that were like year-long credits. So we had to have 180 credits. Basically, I rambled the fuck out of this because my modules were confusing, but essentially, you can see them on screen. 60 credits for my research project, that was over summer. The rest of it was 120 credits. 20 credits dissertation, 10 credits MATLAB, 10 credits forensic, 20 credits topics in cognitive neuropsychiatry, 20 credits professional skills, 20 credits research methods, 20 credits internship. I picked this master's because you could pick modules, but you had a couple of core modules. The attraction to it was you can pick your modules, you can pick and choose what you want to do. You can, but you can't. Yes, you can pick your optional modules, you can choose the ones you want to do. The options that you are given suck. If you're not interested in brains, you are not going to do any modules. It was essentially, you could pick some 3rd year modules, so like, I don't know, if your uni hadn't done clinical, you could do clinical. Or if your uni hadn't done forensic, you could do forensic. There was some like generic, and then there was some niche. One of them was like autism and memory or something, which is a really niche part of autism. And as someone that is interested in autism, I'm not interested in autism as in children, or like teaching children with autism. I'm interested in adult autism, which is just not a module at uni. Autism stops when you turn 18 according to every module at uni ever. They don't teach you anything about adulthood in autism they'll just say like, some of these issues may persist. Yeah, they will. Are we going to talk about them? No. So yeah, the options were limited. It was very much brain focused of cognitive neuropsychiatry, cognitive neuroscience, brain imaging, analysing brain imaging, functional brain imaging. If you don't like brains, not a big brain fan, you're limited. I enjoyed my topics in cognitive neuropsychiatry module, but it was also quite basic. Like a lot of these modules, despite the fact that you I think you have to have done a psychology undergrad to get onto it, taught it in a way that you could not have done a psychology undergrad and got into it. Like the first lessons in cognitive neuropsychiatry, we spent about 20 minutes on what a neuron is. All you need to know, neuron is a nerve cell, and then you can dip. You can go and talk about the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland without knowing what a neuron is. It's completely not useful. We spent so long on like, what's the nervous system? You don't need to know any of this. The options to pick, slim. They had also some like niche ones because they seemed like a mental health studies thing. However, a lot of the modules were in fact not like clinical or not like mental health. They were more like designing interviews. Boring. Start with MATLAB because I popped off in MATLAB in spite of the lectures. It is a module that is poorly run. It's a module that's core for the cognitive neuroscience people, so they're all in there. And then there was, I think, all of us from psychological research methods also did it because why not? I think also developmental, they couldn't even pick optional modules, so they taught it so badly. Week 1 was basically like, can you add 2 plus 2 in this MATLAB code? I can do this. This is friendly. You're holding my hand. And then suddenly, somewhere between like week 2 and week 3 or something, they were like, okay, run a for loop. Work out the probability of this in a for loop. You never taught me how to make a for loop. A for loop is like the most basic thing in MATLAB. Simple, basic code that I can now do because they taught us it in like week 9. When I kept saying, I don't know what a for loop is, can someone teach us how to make a for loop? They eventually taught us in like week 9, using an example they could have done in week 1 that I would have understood. I went 7 weeks not knowing the most basic thing. The lectures weren't lectures, you go in, they don't do a demonstration, they tell you, work on this. And you go and do some exercises. Useless. A good module to say I've done because I can now put that I'm intermediate, beginner, basic at MATLAB on a CV. I got an 81 in it in spite of their work. This was because during the exam, you could use their own code as long as you could explain it. I could explain what that code was doing, but I couldn't have made it myself. So I don't really know how that was testing my MATLABing abilities. And then also you could just Google and go on MATLAB Wikipedia or something where other people have asked these questions and then go, okay, well this is the solution they put forwards. Because the exam, about 40% of what was in the exam we've never been taught. Some of it was like, oh, now you need to save graphs 1 through 10 as a PNG. We've never been taught how to do that in a MATLAB code. That's not a thing that we were taught. We had to title everything and save it all separately. Never been taught how to do that. Loads of it, hadn't been taught how to do it. Abhorrently run. But you know what? I think my highest module grade, full stop, ever. I'll take it, but I'm taking it. The lecturers get no credit for that one. The research internship, which again had the same issue of, it was a 20 credit module, you did it over semester 1 and semester 2, you read like a booklet of the options and you picked the top 5 you wanted. They were awful options. First of all, again, if you didn't like brains, you've got nothing. And as someone who at that point was applying for PhDs to do with autism, only interest was autism, I applied for the autism one first, emailed her and said, hey babe, I'd really like this, like I hate the others, I literally am going to go do a PhD in autism, let me do it. She basically said, she essentially said, fuck off, don't contact me. She was like, I think you should talk to the lecturers about this. No, because the lecturers said, email your top choices. I didn't get that one. Funnily enough, someone on developmental got that because developmental means you're allowed autism, anything else you're not allowed autism, sucks to be you. I ended up on transcranial alternating current stimulation and working memory. I don't like working memory. In fact, I would say cognitive is my least favourite discipline in psychology. The only benefit is, again, I've got something to put on my CV. You basically ran a research project for them. Some of them were very poorly run. Some of them were great in that you had to get 72 hours or something. Some of them you could get all those 72 hours really quickly. Some of them you couldn't. Like the lab would break. The EEG lab broke. No one could go and do EEGs. We basically just had to invite participants in and run a study and then analyse it. It was basically like doing another research project, which I guess was useful because I've never done a research project. I've never done research. But again, it did just feel like lecturers had proposed a study, but they didn't really want to do it. So we just did it for them and collected all their data and participants, and then we move on. It was fine. Kind of. It happened, is basically all I can say about it. It happened. I got an okay grade in it. I learned some skills from it. Didn't enjoy it. Forensic was forensic and mental health. And basically in Southampton I did criminological psychology, which if you've seen my complaint video, yes, I complained about. They didn't even mark my grade when I resat it. Real flop. This module was forensic and mental health, which was less interesting. It was more about like autism in the criminal justice system, psychosis in the criminal justice system, interventions for mental health, interventions for offending behaviours. Not very interesting to me. Also a third year module full of loud people. I went to about half an hour of the first lecture and I couldn't do any more. Like 300 people in it, and considering I had just come from a module with 4 people in it, couldn't do it, not for me. Exam was awful, absolutely worst thing I've ever done. You had 2 hours to write 2,000 words. 2 hours to write 2 separate 1,000 word essays. Where's planning time? Where's writing time? Where's checking time? Not possible. Objectively not possible. As someone that finishes 8-hour exams in an hour, I have never been too slow on a paper. I got extra time and rest breaks, which meant I got 50% extra time, and I submitted 7 minutes before my extra time was done. Absolutely shambolic. Not particularly interesting as a module. Not particularly well assessed. If we'd been given the questions before, fine, I would have planned an answer. We weren't. We were just told, you'll get 2 questions that you've got to answer them. Okay. Topics in cognitive neuropsychiatry, another 20 credit module, was kind of okay. It was on a different campus, which was annoying when I went to the lectures. The content was okay. It was a bit kind of all over the place. Like some of the lectures were like on arousal, some of them were on like fight or flight, and then suddenly it was about like depression or like brain currents. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it because, again, I didn't sign up to do a cognitive neuropsychiatry or neuroscience masters. I just picked it because it was there. Again, I kind of popped off in it. I would say I popped off almost in spite of the lecturer. I didn't really use many of the resources that the lecturer gave because they weren't very good. And I still popped off. I'll take it. I also got a really nice comment. I made a crappy image on Canva, and she was like, oh, it really is true what they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I was like, all I did was like the most generic picture ever. Okay, module, didn't really care about it. The core module's kind of shitty. Dissertation, alright, bit weird. Rather than writing like a literature review, you had to specifically write about like 6 papers, which just isn't a thing that you ever really get asked to do. Didn't really care for it. Only good thing was that there were 6 people and the lecturers were really nice. Professional skills, waste of time, don't attend a single lecture of that. All you do is write a portfolio, which it's due in May. I did it in October. They didn't like it anyway, so doesn't matter how much time you spend on it, if you get it done first or last, they think it's shit. You write tweets about seminars that you've read. Then you have to write a reflective essay about everything you learnt in the module. And I thought I was being quite reflective. I was saying, oh, I didn't actually learn much. My comment was, you need to talk about what you learn. I didn't learn anything in this module. Do you want me to lie? If you want me to lie, you need to tell me that I need to lie. Waste of my time. Crap module, waste of time, completely irrelevant to anything in life. Then had research methods, or advanced research methods. They don't care about qualitative. If you're interested in qualitative methods, step aside, you're not going to learn about them. You then had to write 2 essays about something, like a topic that you learned about in an area of your interest, which is an okay assessment method. I think it's probably the only assessment method where I've done something the first time and I've improved on it the second time. My first essay got like a 68 and I didn't think it was bad. My second essay, which I thought was worse, got an 87. It was not, an 87 is like, this is published, you could not publish that, it was a bad piece of work. Also, they gave like good examples, however then they gave generic feedback which said don't do anything that these good examples have done. So why give the good examples? Also, don't give an example if you're not going to tell me how good that example is. What is good to you? Would they say that it's good because it got a 62? Because I wouldn't say that that's good to me. I wouldn't want to copy an example that got a 62. I would want to copy an example that got a first, or a grade that I want. Research project, again, they hate me and they hate students that aren't on a specific specialised course. Essentially, in like February, you got a project book with all of the projects that are available. You go through and you pick your top 5. Again, awful project, 99% on brains, and then some weird ones on climate anxiety. Nothing social, nothing clinical, nothing health psychology, maybe one health psychology. Nothing of any interest to 90% of people studying psychology. There was an autism project, which I am now doing in spite of them. I applied for an autism project and then 4 other irrelevant ones in March. In like March or April, May, one of those months, they gave us our project allocations. Almost everyone on my course got their 5th choice. Because, and I do understand, you have to prioritise to some extent, you know, people doing cognitive should get, or the cognitive neuroscience masters should get preference to do a cognitive neuroscience thing. However, they shouldn't advertise projects that are only specialised. Like, you could essentially either do a project that was nicely set up for a developmental student, nicely set up for a cognitive student, or a leftover pile of garbage. I can almost guarantee everyone on the conversion psychology masters got an awful dissertation, because we all got awful dissertations. I got my 5th choice. I then emailed and I was like, hey babe, what the fuck was going on with this allocation? And she was like, oh, you had a chance to tell us your preferences. I'm like, okay, I did though. I even left a comment in the end that was like, I had a place to do a PhD on autism at that point. I was probably, objectively, smarter than a lot of the other students. I probably scored quite highly on all the things they should have allocated it against. Obviously, because someone's doing a developmental project, masters, they get the developmental project, which, yes, but then make more projects that we can get onto. Because essentially it meant that if you were not a specialised student, your master's choices were the leftover things. You were last choice, specialised students get all of their picks, and then you get whatever's left over, which is probably just boring, like climate anxiety, or something that's definitely done before. The project I was allocated to was the experiences of LGBT students at university. That is the most generic thing that I can almost guarantee someone studied 100 times before. Hated it. I emailed, basically they made problems with the allocations of the project I'm on was supposed to have like up to 6 people. They'd allocated 1 person. I sent an email going, hey babe, what the actual fuck? Worded it a bit nicer because I'm very nice. And then I got onto my project. And then I messaged almost everyone on our course and I was like, by the way, you can change projects because they're just shit at allocating. We move on. In terms of like assignments, I think most of our assignments worked for the modules. We didn't do too many weird niche things. Like in Southampton, we were doing a lot of niche things. We didn't really do any like presentations here. I think almost everything that we did made sense for the module. like for the dissertation, we did a dissertation. For MATLAB, at the end we got a set of questions and we answered them. For forensic, that one sucked. The 2 hours, 2 1,000-word essays is a lot of rubbish. Topics in cognitive neuropsychiatry, we did a lay summary of a research study. Then we wrote a research proposal or a study protocol or something, both of which were actually quite useful and relevant. Research internship, we again did another lay summary thing, which I hate lay summaries, I don't enjoy them. They're somewhat useful, not interesting. And then we did like a preset piece of work of like, one person might be writing a method and results, one person might be writing up a lit review. It was okay, it didn't not fit. Research methods, we did the 2 essays. Professional skills, we did a rubbish portfolio, which kind of made sense, but then we can talk about grading, which I'll be honest, I still don't understand. In Southampton, they had the categorical marks they could give you. That is all you were allowed. The first grade I received back was a 74. That's not a categorical mark. It's not categorical, or is it 76? I don't know, it was one of the two that's not a categorical mark. We were then told that you could get, I think it's different in postgrad and undergrad, because in postgrad they seem to say that you could get a 45, a 55, a 65 or an 85, and those were your options. That's not true, you could also get 75. But then in our dissertation module, we were given grades based off the original categorical marking of like 62, 65, 68. So I got a couple of 68s, a couple of like 75s. I got an 81 in MATLAB, which kind of makes sense because it's probably normally distributed. But again, I also don't know how they worked that out. Or did I actually just get 81% of things correct and they went, yeah, fair enough. Topics in cognitive neuropsychiatry, I got a 76 and a 74. Did they go, oh, it's a 75, and then they went, let's be nice? Did they go, oh, it's 75, oh, it's not quite, let's take away 1 point? How does this work? Could someone explain it to literally anyone? Because nobody understands. Where are we being graded? Why would some lecturers go, yeah, this is pretty good, and give you an 85, and some lecturers would go, this is pretty good, 70? And what does this all mean? And even if they were going to grade us on like a 45, 55, 65, 85, why the fuck would an 85 be the only grade you can get in a distinction? Give me a single reason that makes sense. Because I would say I've always kind of worked at a low distinction grade. If there was a 72 in there, or a 75, that's me, that's where I am. You think I'm going to write to an 85? I don't understand, it doesn't make any sense. I was also normally distributed, probably in MATLAB, but I don't really care about that one. I know I was normally distributed in one of my topics in cognitive neuropsychiatry things. It was either I got 74 or 76 or something, but my original grade, if you worked out the percentage, because I got like a 5.2 out of 6 average. I'll put it on screen if I remember. It was an odd working out thing. You get a point if you're in merit, you get 2 points if you're in distinction, and then they average that out for each of your components. And my averaging out of like, a 5 out of 6 was an 80, but my grade was a 76/74, don't know which one. I emailed the lecturer at some point and she was just like, oh, we just had to, like, everyone was scoring too high. Make your assessment harder, mark harsher. Feels like a you problem, not a me problem. Then if we talk about lectures, I didn't go. That's kind of, I don't have anything I can say. We kind of had a couple of useful lecturers. The dissertation supervisor, or the dissertation module lead, amazing, love her, favourite lecturer. Most of them generally did reply to your emails. I didn't go to enough lectures to know if they were useful in person though. And I still did well, so again, moral of the story, you don't have to go to lectures to do well in your degree. I will add that the MATLAB lecturers did suck though. On to tutors. I've always had an issue with tutors. It kind of continues. So we were given a tutor who was like the head of the research methods course. I don't feel like I really had a need for a tutor this year. I wasn't like, you know, not doing well. I didn't have many questions that like I needed answering. But I don't think he was on our side generally. He scheduled us for like 3 check-ins throughout the year, which was good. Everyone should do this, every tutor, because that's just how a tutor should do their job. But again, because I didn't have any need for them, it was a 20-second like Teams call of, are you okay? Yep. Any questions? Nope. Any questions about anything else? Nope. Okay, bye. We did, however, though, when I sent the email to the dissertation lady for the research project, and I was like, all your projects suck, babe, allocate us better, obviously worded nicer, he then sent an email out because both me and someone else on our course had been pissed off about this, rightly so. He then sent an email like, you shouldn't be upset about what you get because the point of the Research Methods Masters is to teach you new skills and for you to explore new disciplines. Is it though? That's not why we chose it. We chose it so that we could pick our own modules, tailor our own options. And then he said, that's actually not the point of it. He wasn't on our side. He wasn't outrightly mean to me or anything, but I have nothing positive to say. And then, unacademically related, in the Southampton videos I talk about societies, and I was always probably negative apart from about aerial hoop. Love aerial hoop. I joined netball again this year. Netball people can be nice. I never knew this. Again though, not necessarily psychology. So I went to the psychology netball like taster. They were really friendly. They were like, oh yeah, we need shooters. And I was like, great, someone will let me play the position I want and they'll be nice to me. Then I went to the very first taster session and I was only able to go, like the very first training, and I was only able to go for like the last half hour of it. Felt like fucking trials. They were like writing down who was good, go for it, but do it a bit more subtly. There was then also third years going, we don't have to worry about our positions on the team though, at least. Basically saying, you're all shit. Now, if I was trying to get into a team for the uni, go for it, tell me I'm shit. I'm not, this is the for fun league. So they felt like bitches and I didn't go back. They were also in like the first league of Saturday, which is like the hard league. Not really interested in that. Funnily enough, I'm joining the for fun netball. For fun. Absolute shocker, the psychology girls could not relate, but I played the netball for the funsies. There's yet again a side thing that I'm not eligible for that was nicer to me. In Southampton, STEM netball were incredible, they were so kind, they let me play. In Nottingham, it was Neuro, and I'll be honest, best netball team I've ever been on. Were we good? No. And I think that's fine because it's a for fun netball league. We didn't train, which I kind of wanted to do training, but I was also like, you know what? That is a bit more of the for fun. We can turn up on a Wednesday and go, we're gonna do shit. And that was fine. Like, in the first league we did, in the first semester, you know what? We did kind of okay. I kind of popped off in a couple of games as goal shoot. I was allowed to play goal shoot. Isn't it crazy that I can be good at the position I chose to do? Crazy stuff. All the girls were so nice. No one was ever mean to me. No one was ever like, Saskia, you're doing shit. No one was ever like, oh, we're gonna worry about shooters this year. Second semester we flopped. We did not win a single game. We were in like the lowest of low leagues, which that is fine. I basically just wanted a team that I could go and do an hour of running about outside. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. Loved netball. Another great thing that they did is that they had a Facebook page that was basically like a we need subs page, and they would put, oh, team 1 has a game on Saturday, we only have 5 people, can anyone play? I was really scared to do this, and the very first game I like said I could play was basically because I had seen that someone on Neuro had said they could play, and I was like, I know them, I can go and do that. I went, I played, I think I was goal shoot, and I did shit. No one was mad at you, because first of all, it's a for fun league. Second of all, they were going to have to forfeit the game anyway, so the fact that you turned up meant that they didn't have to forfeit. People were really nice. I did so much of that people on other teams now knew who I was. I would say I'm a shooter. I like playing shooter. in this for fun league, I'm not going to go, oh yeah, you've only got 6 people and you've got all your natural shoots here, but I'm only going to play shooter. I'll play whatever you need me to do. Please don't put me in centre. I played 2 quarters in centre. I hate it. I'll never do this again. But I played a lot of goalkeeper. I played a lot of goal I popped off in goal defence. I wouldn't have said I was a goal defender, mostly because I'd been, shoved into wing defence as the irrelevant one that no one liked on the psychology netball team, and hated it because I didn't want to be there. Who knew that defending was actually kind of fun if you were interested in it? I played almost every position. I had a great time. No one was mean to me. I essentially became a little member of a lot of these separate teams. I played for geography, lib arts, sociology. They kind of all knew me and I kind of knew them, so I always felt chill joining their team. Incredible. Only issue I will say is, number one, they had indoor and outdoor netball. Outdoor netball, the courts kind of suck and sometimes the hoops are the wrong size. Indoor netball, open a fucking door, I swear to God. Why would you have a sports hall where sports are played be boiling hot? Jesus, it was awful. If you went in like the 4th slot, so they did like Sunday mornings, if you went at the Sunday 10 a.m, fine, you're sweating, but it's an okay sweat. If you went on the Sunday at like 3 p.m, they've had 7 games before you, they don't open a window, they don't open a door, you're there in your sports bra and your sluttiest shorts possible, burning. They paid umpires, which was better than in Southampton and get paid. However, you would think that the umpires being paid, they'd treat it like a job and therefore know the rules. There were some umpires that were great. They knew the rules, they were relatively friendly, because here's the thing, we're all playing in the IMS Fun League. I was playing with some people that hadn't played netball before, so they would blow the whistle and kindly say, oh, you have to catch the ball in the centre third. There were some where they were rude. You could tell that there were people who were on like the uni team and they were only here to earn money because they're better than everyone else, and they'd go, excuse me, goal defence, you have to stand next, goal defence, you move. Okay, take a moment, we can't hear you because we are outside and there are 7 other games happening. Take a moment, chillax and say, goal defence, could you go and stand next to her? I also got yelled at for not being on side. I did this once. I think I was goal defence. It was either ours or the other team sent a pass. Literally doesn't matter. I just stepped over the line before they blew the whistle, because normally they wait for everyone to get on side before they blow the whistle. In friendly netball, I was literally jumping over the line. Just, excuse me, goal defence, you really need to start getting on side. I was. Take a chill. And also England Netball like updated the netball rules at some point, which, when netball is your special interest, you know all the rules. These girls didn't learn the rules. And like, if it's your job, you'd think you'd try and do things to be better at your job, like learn the rules. No one knows how to do the replay ball rule, which fair enough, it's a little bit confusing. No one ever called a short pass. I got called for footwork when I did not do footwork. You know how all the goal shooters, you take a step in and you don't put your foot down. I got footworked for that several times. They didn't call contact like 90% of the time. You'd be laying on the floor after the goal defence has just knocked you to the ground and stolen the ball from your hands. You didn't do anything. You just got to sit there. So like, overall, I enjoyed it more. The setting was better. You had quite a few really nice umpires, and then you had quite a few shitty ones, which, it's not the end of the world because it's a fun league, but it's kind of hard to have fun when people are calling you up on rules that don't exist and yelling at you in front of everyone. I already forgot that I did this. I was in pole for I paid for the pole membership for the whole year, and I did pole kind of all of semester 1. I liked it and I didn't like it. Like, the lady that ran it was really nice. It was off campus, so I had to get into the city. It was annoyingly on the same day and time as netball, so like, I would have pole 1 till 2 and then I'd have netball at 2:30 somewhere that was 35 minutes away. Stress. I liked that you kind of, pro and con is that you didn't book all of your classes at once. In undergrad in Southampton, you paid for the 10 set of classes at once. You then had to go to all 10 classes, which meant that everyone knew everyone. You'd kind of work on building from last week. In this one they had 2 beginner classes and you paid per week. The classes would get released, I think, on like a Friday at 1 p.m. for the next Wednesdays at 1 p.m. sessions, and it was a fight for your life getting tickets. If you did not book the tickets at 1 o'clock on the dot, you were not getting in. It also made it really hard to go consistently, because you might be going to the Wednesday 1 o'clock and then the next week you've got to go to the Wednesday 2 o'clock, and then the next week you can't get tickets, and then for 3 weeks in a row you can't go, and then you come back and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to build on this. Like, I did some fun things. I got bruised though. Really enjoy that. I think I enjoyed the societies I joined. There was also a Taylor Swift society which I regret not doing more for. I think I went to the taster session, I saw them in like the Freshers' Fair, and then I went to sign up and then I just forgot to do it. I think I would have really liked it because it was just kind of chill. They did friendship bracelets, they listened to 1989 when it came out. Like, they did all of these friendly things where there was no like competitive element to it. That's kind of what I liked about like pole and hoop, is that you're not competing with each other like in netball. There's always going to be someone taking it a bit too seriously. Like, it's all well and good if in pole you're shit at it. It's all well and good if the person next to you might be doing 17 pirouettes and they're actually a ballet dancer, and you're there going, I actually don't know my lefts and rights. It's a friendly environment to fail. Netball is a less friendly environment to fail. It has the conditions to be a good environment. It's difficult to get all of the perfect storm together, if that makes sense. Like, it kind of, you know, the people on your team might be mean, the people on the other team might be mean, the umpires might be mean, you could be playing indoors when it's disgustingly sweaty, like lots of different things that could irritate you. Luckily I didn't get too pissed off. Some people did, not me. I'm really good at managing my anger. I would just get pissed off and then message Jade. But yeah, I really enjoyed all the societies I joined. Southampton videos, I did talk about housing. I never had any issues with housing, in the sense that I live with Jade. Love you, Jade. I'm back to filming videos, therefore you're back to getting your shout outs. I only have had issues with like estate agents, landlords. My house that I lived in for postgrad was a nice house, okay? It was a pretty enough house. However, they like renovated it so that the kitchen had been like added on, and the kitchen was fucking tiny. The kitchen was smaller than the kitchen in our second year flat, which was tiny and for 2 people, but this was now for 6. The freezer was downstairs. Is this a Nottingham thing? We had to go into a basement to get our freezer. Like, my bedroom was nice, the bathroom was nice. I'm not going to say too much about the people because I'm still talking to them to get my deposit back, because the landlady is landladying. Wouldn't live in a 6-person house again. Considering I was well off enough with money that I'd worked to have saved up money, I should have just got a studio flat on my own, even if it meant that I was more poor than I am. For my own sanity, I needed a studio flat because nobody cleaned that house other than me. I lived with people. I did it. It worked. My non-educational experience was better and worse, in the sense that I had the Southampton living situation paired with all of the societies here, plus aerial hoop, Miss Aerial Hoop. That probably would have been perfect. I don't necessarily feel too positively or too negatively about the lectures or like the modules or anything. I'm not going, wow, I really enjoyed my degree. I'm not going, yeah, it was the worst thing ever. I think it's just something that I did. Like, I know I have the potential to enjoy education because I loved sixth form, last year of sixth form. Loved my IB lessons, really enjoyed that. I just don't know if I have the potential to enjoy university. I don't know what I would need in university for it to be interesting to me or good. I think, yeah, I could enjoy uni, but I didn't. Basically, housing, frowny face. Societies, loved. Modules, General experience, I feel like that summarises it. I think the that's everything. We'll leave it there. I haven't filmed a video in ages. If this setup turns out to be tolerable / okay, I will film another video, because I am going to film a video about my PIP timeline, because after a year of fighting and going to a tribunal, I've been awarded PIP. Took long enough. I will make a video on it though if this is a tolerable situation, or if I can find a better place to film, which I probably can't. So that's everything. I will see you when I see you.